What if the greatest crime wasn't murder, but becoming someone else? What if love wasn't possession, but replacement? In Arc 5, we explore villains who don't conquer nations or burn the world. They invade something far more intimate: identity, trust, love. Joe Goldberg loved by watching. Amy Dunn loved by controlling the story. But Tom Ripley loves by becoming. He doesn't just want what you have. He wants your life. This is not a story about madness. This is a story about emptiness. This is episode 23, The Philosophy of Tom Ripley. From 1999, film The Talented Mr. Ripley, played by Matt Damon. This is Beyond the Villain, where we unmask evil, one story at a time. Tom Ripley begins as nothing. No legacy, no wealth, no identity worth protecting. He exists on the margins, drifting, borrowing, imitating. Tom survives by reading rooms, copying accents, adjusting his posture, mirroring confidence. He learns something early and learns it well. The world does not reward honesty. It rewards performance. Class matters more than character. Confidence matters more than competence. Belonging matters more than truth. Tom doesn't grow up evil. He grows up invisible. And invisibility breeds hunger. Tom doesn't hate the wealthy. He envies their ease. Not their money, their belonging. They don't explain themselves. They don't audition for acceptance. They don't feel the constant pressure of proving they deserve space. When Tom is sent to Italy to retrieve Dickie Greenleaf, he encounters something intoxicating. A life without anxiety. A life without self-monitoring. A life where identity is inherited, not earned. Dickie doesn't struggle to be himself. He simply is. And Tom watches. Tom does not plan to kill Dickie. That's the most unsettling part. He plans to be close, to share meals, to share clothes, to share mannerisms, to share identity. But closeness becomes obsession. Admiration becomes envy. And envy becomes replacement. Dickie's rejection of Tom isn't cruel. It isn't dramatic. It's casual. And that's what destroys him. Because casual rejection confirms something Tom has feared his entire life. He will never be chosen. He will never belong. Not as himself. At that moment, Tom realizes a devastating truth. No amount of effort will make him acceptable. No amount of performance will make him permanent. So Tom does what he's always done. He adapts. He kills Dickie not out of rage, but out of necessity.
I always thought it would be better to be a fake somebody than a real nobody.
Tom Ripley does not seek chaos. He does not seek domination. He does not seek power. He seeks continuity. A life without rejection. A life without humiliation. A life where he no longer needs to perform, because he is the role. Tom's true goal is ontological security. The feeling that your existence makes sense, that you belong somewhere without explanation. And Tom will protect that feeling at any cost. Tom does not see himself as a monster. He sees himself as a survivor in a world obsessed with status. From Tom's perspective, identity is flexible, morality is situational, love is possession. If the world values appearances, then deception is honesty. If identity is social permission, then theft is adaptation. Tom Ripley doesn't break the system. He uses it perfectly. Tom Ripley represents one of the most disturbing philosophical ideas imaginable. Identity is not discovered. It is performed. 1. Existentialism without authenticity. Existential philosophy argues that existence precedes essence. We are not born with meaning, we create it. But existentialism also demands responsibility. Jean-Paul Sartre argued that freedom without accountability is bad faith. Tom Ripley rejects that part. Instead of creating himself, he appropriates others. Instead of choosing who he is, he chooses who he can convincingly imitate. Where existentialism asks, "Who will you become?" Tom asks, "Who already has what I want?" Freedom without responsibility becomes theft. Tom is existentialism stripped of ethics. 2. Envy as ontological violence. Envy is not wanting what someone has. It's wanting what someone is. Tom doesn't want Dickie's money. He wants Dickie's ease, his legitimacy, his right to exist without explanation. This is not material envy. This is identity envy. And identity envy is violent. Tom doesn't erase Dickie. He overwrites him. This is ontological violence. Violence against being itself. 3. The performance of self. Tom understands something terrifyingly modern. Identity is convincing if performed well enough. Accent, clothing, confidence, routine. If no one questions it, it becomes real. Truth is irrelevant if belief is secured. If everyone believes the lie, it becomes truth. Tom Ripley is the logical endpoint of performative identity culture, where selfhood is branding and authenticity is optional. The counter-philosophy is humanist authenticity, the belief that identity gains meaning through honesty, limitation, and vulnerability. Dickie lives authentically, even irresponsibly. Tom lives strategically, even monstrously. Dickie accepts who he is. Tom refuses who he is. And that refusal is the seed of violence. Self-rejection is the first murder. Real-world parallel. We live in a world where personas outperform truth. Curated lives replace lived ones. Status defines value. Tom Ripley doesn't feel fictional. He feels inevitable. He is what happens when society rewards performance over being. Tom Ripley warns us about a subtle danger. When identity becomes something to escape, we will destroy ourselves trying to become someone else. Ambition becomes pathology. Adaptation becomes erasure. Self-improvement becomes self-annihilation. The lesson isn't don't change, it's this. Change without self-acceptance becomes violence. You cannot become whole by erasing yourself. Is Tom Ripley evil, or simply the most honest reflection of a class-obsessed world? He doesn't invent deception. He masters it. He doesn't reject morality. He adapts to its loopholes. And most terrifying of all, he succeeds. Tom Ripley survives. He lives comfortably. He remains unpunished. Because the world only punishes those who fail to convince. Society forgives what it envies. Hannah Arendt warned of the banality of evil. Evil performed not with hatred, but with normalcy. Tom Ripley doesn't rage. He doesn't justify. He adjusts. And that may be worse. Tom Ripley is terrifying not because he kills, but because he proves something uncomfortable. Identity without grounding becomes predatory. In Arc 5, we've seen love become surveillance, love become control, and now, love become replacement. Tom Ripley doesn't want intimacy. He wants absorption. And once identity becomes something that can be stolen, no self is safe. So let me ask you, is Tom Ripley a villain? Or the natural result of a world that values image over being? Leave your thoughts in the comments. This has been Beyond the Villain, where we unmask evil, one story at a time.